Kia ora, Lara here, and I'm going to share a layout I've created for Scraptember Day 5. And today's the Scraptember kind of theme or focus is to use a gorgeous sketch which is by the Scrappy Sisters. So you'll see that's sort of tucked in the side here. It's kind of a cool squares sort of around a centre point. And I'm going to adapt this a little bit to suit my 8.5 by 11 album that I'm working on as part of Scraptember. So I'm basically going to cut some pattern papers that I think work quite nicely with this photo down to 3x4, so it matches the size of the photograph that I've got, and it kind of matches that journaling outline or that Polaroid block or something, the frame that I've got there, that I'm going to tuck in as well. I'm going to mix up the colours, so I'm just generally getting the pieces here at the moment, but I probably will change them around a little bit. Now I'm not sure what piece of pattern paper to cut initially here for this page, however I am going to work on playing with the colours and things like that, so I'm not sticking specifically to the waterfall colours, but just choosing some of the fun colours, because this layout's actually kind of about the beauty of different little spots on the way and stopping to take note of interest points and things. And in the journaling I do add that I'm not sure if it was the fact that I really liked what I was seeing as I stopped to take the photos, or that I needed a break and I was bored with walking the track. It was quite a long way up, so we were sort of walking for about 8 hours, and my daughter and I got left behind, so we just sort of ambled our way up and tried to motivate each other to keep going. My tramping boots were a little bit too small, I think, so I've since got rid of them. I am not wearing them ever again, and my toes were sore and my feet were really sore, and it was just, when you're walking for 8 hours and the shoes just aren't right, it was quite miserable. I ended up with a couple of black toes, and the toenails fell off a few weeks after the tramp and stuff like that, so I think stopping was quite necessary, although it did prolong the amount of time I had to wear the boots for. So I've just done a little bit of splattering on the 8.5 by 11 paper background, and so now I'm going to work on some of these layouts while that just dries aside there. So I'm going to mount the photograph on some other pattern paper. I just want it to stand out from some of these other gorgeous colours that I've got in the background. So I've just grabbed a piece of paper. I'm not sure what collection or anything this was from. It was from, I think, a mix-in some time ago, but the other papers that I've got there are from the Flower Shop collection, and the frame that I've got is from one of the Cricut, I think, or a digital cut file by Close to My Heart, and I have done a print then cut with that, so just printed it on some cardstock that I cut down to the right size to go through my printer, and then put that into the Cricut, and it just cuts it, so it's rather handy actually. Learning how to do that and being able to use some of those things in a different way, just flattening it before sending it to the printer and then having it being able to be cut out. So these are the stickers that came with the Flower Shop collection, and I will add some different bits and pieces as similar to the sketch, so the top and bottom sort of opposite sides there, show that up. I just wanted to change the paper a little bit, so I've just used a journaling pen to do an outline around it. I did wonder about putting in some other paper and stuff in there, but decided to stick with it as it was and just use that journaling frame. So you'll see here I've just gone around and messed up the edges, and my background paper has dried nicely now, so I am able to stick some things onto that. So I'm going to start with this paper down the bottom right, and stick that down. And then I'm going to just sort of place that with eyeballing where the frame might go when it's ready as well. And then I'm just going to tuck in this other paper up the top here, and tucking that in behind so that that frame's going to kind of cover the joins and the edges. And I said before that I wanted the photo to be the kind of the feature or the standout, so I am going to make sure that that is stuck down with some 3D foam tape to give it a bit more lift, and also so that I'm able to tuck that frame in underneath it there. Now, because I did the splatter in the background, and I'm going to use this frame as my journaling kind of block, I need to then back it with a little bit of the White Daisy cardstock, and I'm just using the offcuts from when I trimmed the pages down to measure 8.5 by 11 rather than being 12 by 12 pieces of paper. Now, while I was working on this layout, my niece and daughter turned up, were there, and my niece was quite taken by my little wee studio setup that I had at my mum's place in the corner of her lounge, and yeah, she was just taken by the wee light and temporary tripod that I was using. So it's just one that all built in, you can charge it up and then use it. It's not perfect, it does wobble a bit when the table wobbles, but it meets the needs of what I'm doing here quite comfortably and makes it a bit more portable. So the journaling that I'm adding in is very similar to what I said at the start about stopping to look and enjoying the beauty of it, but sometimes it was more about just stopping and getting a breather and taking a bit of a break from the walking with these waterfalls and things. Now, it also, I mentioned in it that I wish I had my big camera with me. I just had my iPhone, but I was able to use a shot where you take 3 different images in HDR and then you can post-process and blend them together, so it kind of gives that dreamy water flowing look. So that's something to play around with on your phone or your device if you haven't had a go at that already, but it is something that I have used quite a bit for different waterfalls and rivers and different things like that, and I'm sure there'll be some more shots along these lines that I share as part of this album process over the month of Scraptember or September. I am busily trying to catch up with these. Just had some stuff going on, which has meant I haven't really been in the right frame of mind for creating these pages, but scrapbooking is a distraction, or can be a distraction, and so yeah, I've got into that again. So in the Flower Shop collection there's also embellishments and these sheets, and this word here, beautiful, I just thought would tie in nicely. I should have thought about this before I stuck it all down, and so I've sort of changed where the title is, but I really like how this comes about and how this actually looks when it's all stuck together. So I'm just using some liquid glass. This is kind of a navy coloured title. It's a little bit thicker than normal straight cardstock, but it does have, it's still nice and thin and sits beautifully tucked in there. Don't forget the dot on the I. I did recently use this collection for a set of instructions that I had for a scrapbook day that we do. You can head over to my Instagram and perhaps find the layouts from that if you are wanting to investigate, but in those instructions I did tell people not to forget the dot on the I as well, so and some people almost did, however it's okay. So now I am again pulling out some of these acrylic shapes that close to my heart have come out with, and I'm just putting a few of the blue dots at a few different points around the page. Thanks so much for watching, and check out the playlist for other layouts that have been created using this gorgeous sketch, and layouts that are following the Scraptember theme. So here's just some close-up photos of the page that I've put together. If you've enjoyed this, please subscribe. Thanks again for watching.